We'll have an economy. I actually think we'll have an economy like we've never had before.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square, you're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good evening, everybody. We are not at Peach Time Out during the week. We are in the home office, and I want to introduce our first guest right away, Naples Fire Chief Pete DeMaria. Did I say that right, Chief?
Yes, DeMaria.
Thank you, and we appreciate you coming on. And just before you came on, I saw an article from the governor, and that the governor still has not decided to take steps such as California, Illinois, New York, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Louisiana, Delaware, New Jersey, and Connecticut are all in some kind of shelter in place, or can't go out. And that is one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, was because you fired off an email to the governor today. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we have our emergency operations center open all weekend long. We've been watching the events in the community evolve, and we're seeing that there's people that are just not abiding by some of the executive orders the governor's passing out. I mean, he's telling us to do some of the things that you would expect to be done, people to abide by beach closings, restaurants closing, gyms closing, but it's just not being effective. And I watched some videos, especially one from Dr. Michael Ryan from the World Health Organization, and he talked about the consequences of not making a decision. And the greatest error is to be paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. And so I know that our governor has our best intentions in mind, and I know that he's acting on the entire state's behalf. But for my community, I needed to tell him that I think the quicker, the better. I have an aging community. I have a lot of high-risk people we protect, and I felt it was important that I sent that this morning.
What are some of the things that you're seeing down in Naples that worry you?
Well, we have a lot of activity on the beaches. We had down on Keewaydin Island, I think it was very busy for a time that where the whole world is worried about a pandemic. We're seeing people at the parks, throughout the playing basketball, using all the venues that we've asked them not to use. Restaurants are abiding by the executive order, but they're still doing takeout. So we're seeing long lines and trying to take out food, and they're really not observing that physical distance that we need to have from one another. I think social distance is the true term, but I think socially we need to have interaction. So physically we need to stay apart from each other, and we need to continue to have that social interaction with each other. So we just got to do it from afar, or we have to do it through means of technology.
The beaches are closed down there, correct?
Yes, sir. They are closed.
People are still going out on the beach despite that.
Yes, sir. And we're seeing them a lot. It's just the enforcement portion of it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, how can you cover everything when you have other things going on too, and then you have to try and keep people off the streets? It's got to be almost impossible to do.
Yeah, we've asked our law enforcement to do a lot, and they're stepping up to the challenge. It's just how much enforcement do you want to, push on a family or a group of people playing volleyball? We just want to try to educate them, let them know that some of the things that they're doing are going to be unhealthy, not just for themselves, but for our mother, our grandmother, and some of those high-risk people. And that message is not getting out there. So this email came from a point from my heart, a little point of frustration, and just the need that I think I needed to say it. So that's what I felt I had to do.
When you saw what was going on today with the governor, when he made it looked like he made it clear, at least for today, things could always change when we wake up tomorrow morning, that he didn't really want to close it down yet because everybody, every county or every area has, acts differently or has different numbers. What's your response to that?
I can sympathize with his decision-making. Right now, South Florida, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Collier, and Lee, we're faced with a bigger issue than some of the other areas in the state, especially in more rural areas. So I know he speaks on behalf of the entire state, and that makes his decision-making a lot more difficult than what we do locally or in our counties. So I understand the difficultness that he's having right now. I just think that in due time he'll go on and make that decision that we're all in emergency management hoping he does.
Is everybody in the government down there in agreement with the email that you sent off, the mayor and the other folks that make decisions? Was everybody on board with that?
Well, I can't speak for everybody in our local government, but I'm the emergency manager here in the city of Naples, and I'm the fire chief, and that came from only me. And like I said, a place in my heart that I think I needed to get that message out. So I know they all have strong feelings about the safety of our community. Where they are in their own minds now, I can't speak to how they feel about that, but I'm sure that they have a great concern as well.
Have you heard back? Did anybody respond to the email?
I have not. And I don't necessarily expect the governor to respond to that. I hope he sees that I'm concerned, and I hope he sees that other public safety officials around the state are concerned, and that we help him make a very hard decision, and we hope he makes it fairly quickly.
So one of the things that we're even seeing from the president today or overnight was that they don't want the cure to be as bad as what's going on now. And I think what they mean by that is crippling the economy so much by shutting governments down. What do you think about that? That they're starting to worry about that already. And I mean, you can really see parts of it's crippling the restaurant industry, the stock market, things like that.
You know, there is no doubt that the economy weighs on our policymakers, on our governor, on the president, and of course, I want our economy to be strong, but I also am charged with the public safety and the fact that I know that, you know, this disease is more contagious than the flu. It has a R0 number of 3, which means for every one person that has this, 3 will catch it from him, and then from those 3 more, and it will go on indefinitely until we stop it. And the only way we can stop it is to prevent that physical distancing. And so the most important thing from my point of view is to save lives. And I know that at some point we'll push past the ability of our healthcare system to take care of everyone. And those tough decisions that our brave healthcare workers, whether they be fire rescue, law enforcement, nurses, doctors, they're going to have to make a decision through triage and who gets ventilators, who gets ICU beds, and who doesn't. And that day is going to be very difficult for them to make that decision. And it's going to be very important that we try to stop this before it comes to that. So one must weigh out, is the economy more important than those decisions? From my perspective, I mean, we can regrow our economy once we get past this public health crisis. We have a strong economy. I think we will come back. We will come back strong. But can we come back from losing such a large portion of our population? I have that concern.
Are there things that you can do locally still to tighten things up even before the governor decides or not decides to close the state down completely? Or have you guys really gone as far as you can in Naples?
No, in Naples, we did some really good things today. Our city manager, our policymakers internally, we've closed all of our city buildings. We've tried to make as many things virtual as possible. No person-to-person bill paying. Everything's going to be done online or by drop boxes. We're limiting exposure to our workforce. We've put all the universal precautions in effect. So we're continuing to advance our mission as a city government and yet meet the needs, the essential needs of our community. So I think we're getting close to doing everything we can do, but we are certainly being as aggressive as possible and trying to curtail this virus.
Have there been any reported positive cases in Naples? And how many do you really think there actually are, even though they might not have been reported yet? Do you have kind of an estimate that you're working off of that you're preparing for?
Yeah, I think the numbers today jumped up to 37 in Collier County. We have a number of those positive cases here in the city of Naples. We have many that are tests are pending, and you know, I can echo the Surgeon General to say that we should stand by for a shocking week. Now that we have more tests, More people are being evaluated. I think those numbers are going to rapidly increase. They will shock our community. They will shock all of us to see how quickly it will grow. And when we have more tests, we'll see even more positive cases. The thing is, if we can keep the increased cases on a more level curve, we will be doing our job. We will spread this out over a longer time, but we won't ever exceed the ability of our healthcare system to take care of the people that need it. So that's our goal, is to try to lessen the amount of people at any one time.
Do you feel like you have enough places to get tested, testing kits like that in Naples, or you're, what's the status of that? If somebody, I don't even know if I had the sniffles, I wouldn't even know if I was supposed to go get tested. I mean, it's so new and crazy right now. But do you feel like that Naples has the testing areas and kits that it needs?
So we're testing on a regular basis. I would say we probably could use more, but the entire country needs more tests. I know we're working to get there, but it is the frustration of our health department that there are only so many tests that we can do daily. So we certainly can use more. Whether you get tested needs to be done by a doctor's order. So he would need your physician would need to write a script for you to take to a drive-in testing site and get tested. You would have to have been, I believe, ruled out for influenza, strep, whatever else they could rule out, and then leave no other option but to take a COVID-19 test. So we're gaining ground on the testing, but we have a ways to go yet.
Finally, if the governor picked up the phone and called you, what would you say to him right now?
Well, I don't think he's too busy to call me. I would echo what I wrote in that email and just ask him to make a well thought out decision that would help us locally address the issue. And so I think he's going to get there. I just think he's got a lot on his mind. He's got to weigh it out and make the right decision for all of Florida. So I count on him to do the right thing.
Chief, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate your time, and good luck down there in Naples.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.